Hello again, everyone. Welcome back. Before we get started, I'd like to speak a little bit about the focus of our attention this week. I've experienced in the past that it's hard to talk about this quality, which is that of the feeling tone. Once the meditation's begun, it kind of brings people back into their heads, and it's not necessarily where we need to be at that time. Sorry, coughing myself. A feeling tone is defined as a particular quality of one's awareness measured in terms of pleasantness or unpleasantness. Basically, what that means is for everything that we sense, everything that we feel, every thought that we have, everything that occurs to us, before it enters the field of our conscious mind, is first perceived by our body and our subconscious, and fairly immediately thereafter, once it's sort of handed off to our consciousness, we immediately form a judgment about it. It's something pleasant, something we like, something we want more of or to move closer to, be associated with. It's something we don't like. It disgusts us, or it makes us feel uncomfortable, or it's something we wish to have less of, something we may wish to numb or drive away, something we may wish to reject. And on this spectrum of pleasurable and unpleasurable, there are still, there's a whole range of intensity. And I believe what happens once we've established this feeling tone, and it's a super fast, almost automatic process. We've developed it. We've honed this skill over years. Is that we then can sort of file it. We can contextualize it in the other sensations we may be feeling. And it allows us to sort of understand or comprehend it better. It allows us to assign an intensity value to it. And this is helpful for us in survival because it means that we can sort of triage the more important things. And we can kind of sit on or wait on the things that are less important. And as with all of these practices of awareness, do not seek to curtail or end or control this behavior, merely to try to become aware of it in order to better understand ourselves and the world around us. So for today's practice, I will sort of guide us through various focuses of attention, as we usually do, maybe one of in a sitting. We'll do several, and I'll invite you to, as things come up for you, either as part of that chosen focus of attention, or as something that comes up outside of that, a thought, a feeling, or whatever, to try to be aware of and to intercept that initial positive negative value that we give it before we have the opportunity to assign it a value of strength, before we have time to write a story about it, before we have time to file it. Just to see how you really feel about that thing, or how the part of you that makes those judgments feels about that thing. Really maybe to get in touch with that part of ourselves. And so with that, let us begin by first becoming comfortable. Let's start as we usually do with our base, with our foundation. Making ourselves comfortable in our seat. If that's in a chair, then trying to sit towards the front of the chair, not slouching into the back of it if you can avoid it. Trying to find equal weight in all of the parts of your body that are encountering support, be that a cushion or the floor or a chair or a bench. Just try and find as much equanimity as you can. Playing with the tip of the pelvis, the tilt of the pelvis. Try to tilt it slightly down and forward to allow the natural curve of our lumbar spine to exist without overemphasizing it, without compressing our lower spine, just allowing it to be there. Playing with the lean of our body forward and back, side to side. Trying to find balance and posture there. Trying to find where we can be as tall as possible, as balanced as possible. Allowing our shoulders to drop if we can. Allowing them to move backwards to broaden our collarbones if we can. Without forcing them, without muscular engagement, without more muscular engagement than is necessary. Finding our shoulders roughly above our hips, perhaps a little bit in front of. Our knees and legs tip down below our hips and pelvis. Our neck straight, our head possibly tilted forward slightly to allow the back of the neck to lengthen. Try to release the tension in your jaw. Maybe allow your teeth not to touch. Allow there to be an intentional gap there. Eyes gently closed or softly open, gazing at a neutral surface or subject that you may not have to think about a lot. Bring your attention to your breath. Do 3 breaths together and then I'll ring the bell. Inhaling deeply, intentionally, welcoming this moment of time, this cleansing breath, inhaling and exhaling. And I'm probably behind you a little bit. Inhaling and exhaling again. And then the 3rd time, breathing in as much as you can, really feeling your abdomen stretch in all 3 directions and dimensions. And exhaling all of that out. Allowing your breath to return to normal, and I will ring the bell to start sitting. Bringing our attention first to our breath. Holding our attention there as we may hold our gaze on a particular object or subject. Just observing it. Observing everything about that sensation. Whether it be in our abdomen or in our nostril, nose area, or in our sinuses. Just kind of for now picking one of those, whatever may be easiest for you. Just feeling that in-breath, feeling that out-breath. And on the in-breath, just scanning to see, do I have any feelings about this in-breath? Do I like it? Do I find it refreshing, boring, cool, cold? Do I like it? Do I dislike it? Maybe holding the breath for a second. What does this bring up? Do I dislike holding my breath? Does it bring up fear or discomfort? Do I want to stop? Do I want to explore? And if you haven't done so already, exhaling again. What do I feel about that exhale? About the warmth of my breath? About the constriction of the muscles in my abdomen to cause the breath to leave my body? Does it feel healthy? Do I feel anticipation for the next inhalation? Do I feel scared or panicky that I can't breathe? Do I want more breath? Do I want more sitting in silence in this state of not breathing? Maybe now let the breath return to its normal rhythm, whatever that be. And just inquiring with yourself. Do I like this? Do I dislike this? Out of the several kinds of meditation that I regularly try to practice, I find this one in some ways to be really the hardest. I think that's because I really learned to cover over this part of myself. I've really built my ego upon the notion that I'm empirical and that my feelings are thought out and based on logic. And without getting lost in whether that's true or not, be another meditation for another time. And I just maybe wonder how I feel about finding something difficult. Do I want to stop? Do an easier meditation like breath awareness? Do I want to stop because it's something I'm not good at? I don't think. Is it something I feel drawn to because it's new and novel? And refreshing, even though it may be challenging? I'm just noting that. I'm noticing, how do I feel about this? Positive? Negative? Maybe something closer to neutral? And then moving back to my subtle scanning of the feeling tones around breath. Many of these moments that are all, in a sense, now. And as always, we may find ourselves taken away from our listening to feeling tones by thoughts, feelings, the narrator in our brain planning something to say or something we should have said earlier that would have been really funny. Perhaps there's sounds in our environment or in our body that distract us or are the catalyst for other thoughts or feelings. And can we just tap the line of that phone call, if you will? Try and intercept that reaction, that first automatic reaction to that distraction. And we catch ourselves making that judgment. Is this something I like? Is this something I don't like? Is this a fond memory? Is this an unpleasant or unwelcome sound? And just practicing noticing that, and then whatever else may come along. Whether it's a continuing evolution of that or whether that goes away and some other distraction comes up. Perhaps now let us intentionally move our awareness away from the feeling sensation of the breath, the physical embodiment of it, if we can, and let it land on the sounds around us. And in particular, how we unconsciously or automatically judge those sounds, or our perceptions of those sounds. Is this a familiar sound? Is the sound the harbinger of something pleasant? Does this sound take me out of the moment? Do I like that? Am I resentful that I feel it's a distraction from my process, from my practice? Now maybe, as we did in my last video, zooming out, opening up our field of awareness to include the body as well. Remember, in a very real sense, that hearing is really another kind of feeling. It's another kind of touch. Are there sensations in our body from sitting or just from being in a body? How do we feel about these sensations? Recall that the line between pleasure and pain can very much be context. And feeling tone is the beginning of writing that context. Do I like this sensation? Do I find it pleasant? Does it bring up pleasant memories? Do I not like this sensation? Is it a reminder of something? Is it just a distraction? Is it unwelcome? I'm just noting that and letting go of that observation. Now we will sit for another 5 minutes of silence, 5-ish minutes. In this silence, I encourage you to inquire into any sensation that comes up for you, whether it be mental or breath related or in the auditory spectrum or the aspect of your physical being in this moment. And just try and catch that little micro judgment as it happens. Just notice it and let it go and move on. Ring the bell at the end of our sitting. Thank you everyone for joining me. Hope you were able to find value in this not so easy practice. Hope is that for the rest of your day and my day, as feelings and emotions and sensations may occur and take hold and grab hold of our attention, that though it will be too late to sort of look at the feeling tone, that maybe we can take a look at the back of the watch, if you will, and know that there's so much going on underneath that brings us to that state. And to be curious and amazed and accepting of that process. Namaste.